Hey family, how y'all doing out there? My name is Ravel and welcome to Keep It Raw Relationship Channel. We cannot continue to go on as though all is well and fine, and it's not. The relationship market is on the verge of collapse, and we're going to have to begin to change the narrative and do it fast. And I'm not seeking to be an alarmist. I'm not seeking for likes and to appease folks. I'm here because I see a drastic problem that's almost pandemic level that have to be addressed or it's not going to be corrected. So that's the reason why I'm here. And so I want to dive right into the message today. And my message is to the men today. And so I'm here to reason with you today because we're going to have to begin to grab the bull by the horn. We're going to have to begin to look hard at ourselves. We're going to have to begin to do some things different because a lot of the relationship channels out here in the books and shows and the television programs and all the articles been written, and still our relationships is in shambles. And the reason why is because often everyone want to deal with the what and not the why. And so this show is designed to deal with the why so we can control the what, because dealing with relationship stuff is just a small segment, is a segue to what the real problems are. And so that's what this is all about. It's beginning to deal with the underlying issues, because what appear to be the problem is not the problem. It is what created the problem, which is the real problem, the why. Because if you deal with the what, it's all become a placebo approach. It's a placebo approach. And that's why, despite all that's out there, all the relationship coaches, all the relationship channels, all that's being said, nothing is seeming to correct the problem, because you can't correct the problem by dealing with the what. When you start dealing with solutions, you have to deal with the why. What is the source of the problem? And then fix it. Begin to work in that direction. So all the directions that's going with the what is a placebo approach, and it's a waste of time in my book. Now, you can agree or disagree. That don't mean some people won't get help, but the problem will persist until we begin to deal with the why. So I want to deal with the men today for that reason. I want to deal with the men because, again, we're going to have to begin to face what is going on and what is the cause of it and what we can do to correct it. Because, first of all, God is God. Regardless of what people think, we have, and when he created man to commune with him. He created man to be responsible for the whole earth. He created man in his image. And in the process of time, he decided man should not be alone. So he put Adam to sleep, took Eve out of Adam, and so therefore she was called woman. And he said, she's now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And that's when the relationship between man and woman started. And so God is who he is. He know how it works. And so she became woman. And her role was to be a helpmeet for Adam. That was her role. That's not going to change. And that don't mean women can't be in powerful position. They can't be in leadership position, but they're not in the position that men are in. And that's just the bottom line. So you can feel however you want to feel about that. But men are the head of the family, and women are the directors of the family. And that's just like a company that have a CEO, but then there's a director. The director is the one you're seeing. That's the one that's seeming to be making all the decisions. That's the person that everyone go to. That's the person that have the power. But the CEO is the one responsible for the operation. And so that's the way God set it up. And so man is the head. And that's why when the problems begin to come, Eve was deceived by Satan. Adam was deceived by Eve, and everybody was held accountable. But at the end of the day, he blamed Adam because he was responsible. He said, curses is the ground for your sake. Even though it wasn't his fault, originally, he was responsible. So some things not your fault. That don't mean you're not responsible. Regardless how you look at it and say, well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault for the community. It's not my fault for the breakdown of the relationship. It's not my fault for the kids being all over the place. It's not my fault for this or that or whatever. At the end of the day, we want to be the head. We're going to have to take on the responsibility that comes with being the head. And so often what have happened with us dealing with a lot of our struggles and pains and discrimination and all these different things that we have been facing, our own internal issues, we haven't been able to focus enough to keep our mind on the bigger picture and keep our focus on the real focus, and that's being the head. And because we have not done that and taken full responsibility for our role, the disrespect is enormous. And the disrespect is connected to the lack of holding on to the responsibility. Because with responsibility come respect. With failed responsibility come disrespect. That's just the way it works. And so we're going to have to begin to crawl ourselves out of the basement, so to speak. We're going to have to stand up, because the bottom line is this: if you can defeat the black man, the head of the family, you're going to defeat the family. The family is going to be left broken. It's going to be left fractured. And then you have free course to control the kids. And so our relationships have a lot to do with it. You may say, what do it have to do with it? Well, again, the system is just like having a table. If you begin to break a leg, the table is not going to be strong. You begin to break a second leg, the table is going to probably collapse. You break the third leg, then what do you have? You have no table. And so the black family is at stake because the attack of the black man and the women, you're going to have to realize this. He's under great attack, and it's a plan of divide and conquer. And so we're going to have to wake up. And so God have always preferred to deal with man, but that's not saying he won't deal with women. He preferred to deal with man because he began to talk to Adam in the cool of the day. And so there's people out there that said, I don't believe women should be in leadership role. I'm not one of those that believe that. I believe God will use women in leadership role. I believe God speak to women. I believe God use women. I believe God want women to be empowered, but he don't want that power to be taken of advantage and defeat the man. And that's where the problem come in. No, if you get in power, use that and stay in the role that he created as a helpmeet. You helping to influence the man in a more powerful way. We find even in the old days when Moses was being born, what was the plan? To attack and kill the male youth. When Jesus was being born, what was the plan? To kill and attack the male youth. All those that was 2 and below was to be killed. So to prevent a deliverer to come. That wasn't female. That was not in Moses' day. They didn't go after to kill the female, the young female. They didn't go in Christ's day to kill the young female. So the plot is against the black man to defeat the family. That's always been the plot of the devil. That's always been the plot of the oppressor. And so that's what this whole George Floyd stuff is about. It's to reset the defeat of the black family, and we're going to have to wisen up. And so, men, we're going to have to rise up, and we're going to have difficult conversations with ourselves. We're going to have difficult conversation among ourselves and with others. And so when we begin to defeat the black woman, what we're doing is that's a self-injurious approach, because as we defeat her, we're defeating our kids, we defeating our communities, we defeating our progress, we defeating ourselves in so many ways. And us men, we're going to have to begin to do the internal healing. We're going to have to begin to draw back to God and look to God for help, because the man's job is to tend to God. The woman's job is to tend to the man. And so as the man walk with God, he's able to lead and impart spiritual wisdom into the woman. The woman becomes strong. She's able to impart that into the kid, and the two work as a powerful unit. That's the way it was set up. That's the way it's going to always be in God's book. That's not going to change. So regardless what are the modern viewpoints and so forth, it will not change. So at the end of the day, God holds us responsible for what we're seeing. And I know you may not like this, you may not agree with it, but I'm telling you what it is, and I'm keeping it raw with you. We're going to have to do better. I have to do better. We're going to have to get more involved. We got to begin to take hold of these youth, because the goal is to destroy the bloodline. Not only to destroy you as an adult, but they're now reaching back into the 18-year-olds. They're already preparing and destroying the 5-year-olds, the 6-year-olds through television, through grooming, through the decay, through rap, through TV, through books, through all type of imagery. They're already reaching to destroy the bloodline, because you can get all type of women and empower them. That's not going to fix the relationship problems. It's going to start with the men getting right. Did you hear what I just said? We're going to have to begin to seek to be whole, so we can begin to be the men that's responsible, accountable, and that's going to begin to help things align. It's going to help align a lot of things. And we must humble ourselves and turn back to God. We're going to have to humble ourselves and turn back to God. We all part of a unit. And when we fail our part, the whole unit begins to break down and not work accordingly.